Peace, God. Peace, Goddess. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings from the Most High God. Ashe. I'm in the crown chakra. And the crown chakra is ruled by Saturn. And what I've been realizing is like Saturn is just a mini sun. It's the Lord of the Rings. It literally imitates the sun, which is consciousness. But as I'm learning, I'm traveling these 7 dimensions or these 7 chakras. It's truly, I think I'm outside myself in the world, moving and traveling. Like, I think it matters like where I go. Like, I have to be in this place or over here and do this, but truly all this transformation, all movement, all perception, everything happens from within. And this is why it says seek ye first the kingdom of heaven. Once your inner world is in balance, alignment, and in synchronization with your highest version, then you will begin to manifest your desires. And that's what I'm understanding. It happens on an internal revolution or transformation. I just went through my Saturn return, but now I'm at the height of my Sade Sati, where Saturn is in Aries. And I have an Aries moon, Aries Mars, and Aries Midhaven in the 9th house. And so I'm understanding that like I'm really going inside, and outside is just a kaleidoscope. It's a mirrorverse. It's an illusion, like separation, like quantity, like other. It's an illusion because I am everything and I am nothing. And this is why I'm learning about transcendence. To transform, transcend, there's a process of death. And just yesterday was the resurrection or Easter. And I had finished a fast from Lent. I didn't go the whole 40 days. I was tempted and I did fail. I ain't gonna hold you. But fasting helped prepare me like to receive the sun's downloads and for the challenges I have ahead to bring me closer to God. And I'm understanding in the 7th chakra, it's about attachment. And I didn't understand that how attached I am. And at the heart chakra is the cross. This is also like where we experience as above, so below, where you see the 2 triangles coming together in David's star, the masculine and the feminine, the higher realm and the lower, the heavens and the hell, the heel and the havens. And so as above, so below. The same way we see the stars at night and the planets moving, the same thing, that's us. That's a part of us. And the mirrorverse is here in the planes below in the earth, where you see it taking, the same thing taking place on earth is happening in the heavens. But it happens there first. It happens in the spirit first. Because E equals MC squared, and then it's translated to matter in the lower dimensions as the 3rd dimension. And so I'm understanding that I'm facing like I'm going back from the root chakra to the crown chakra, to the root to the crown chakra, because everything is mirrored from the heart. And so as I think about my attachments, I also have to think about my fears and what I'm rooted in. It's the top and the bottom. So I realized like my attachment is everything. My names hold power. The name I was given versus the name I give myself or other people give me. This triggers the identity within the subconscious to even access something as an alter ego or a past state or phase of the psyche. And like you have a nickname, certain friends or people call you by this nickname, maybe at work, maybe at this high school, this job, or in this city, or at this age. You have a name you give yourself once you know yourself. You have a name that the government has given you, that your parents may have given you. And so these are all identities and versions of yourself. And this is why most people rename themselves, because, or even get baptized again, because you receive this knowledge in a state of ignorance, and once you become enlightened, you then begin to try to live and lead a new life. And so I'm attached to my identity. My name holds an identity, my face holds an identity, my hair, my friends, the locations I go, the city I live in, the state I live in, my significant other, my siblings, my friends, who I consider my friends, my family, my community, my conceptualization of life, even of another being, such as a tree. Like, we were taught to think these are inanimate objects that can't feel pain, which is a lie, because trees are alive, and they are also you. Let everything that have breath praise the Lord. As this tree is alive, so are these ants, so are these ladybugs, so are these leaves, so is the soil and the earth, the river and the air. But it's this miseducation that we receive through 12 grades of indoctrination, to where we actually walk around in the simulation of life inside this matrix that's created by our principals, our teachers, during periods, grades, tests, graduations, and initiations. And so we are introduced into this matrix. And this is what I'm really learning about the seventh chakra, my attachments. Everything is mental. We can physically be attached to something as an addiction, like alcohol. If you ingest so much alcohol on a daily basis, your body will then become accustomed to it. And it will, through evolution, neuroplasticity, and the body's ability to maintain homeostasis, your body will introduce alcohol and welcome alcohol. And when in its absence, you'll go through a withdrawal, because your body is used to, it has become attached to the substance and has learned to regulate the substance. Just as anything like blood sugar, cholesterol, is where you see diseases and dysfunction, because you have things out of alignment and out of balance. And so we have attachments that our body are just attached to. Even certain things like comfort foods, things that we watch on TV, vibrations, things that we call home. And it's important, like, we come here for a short amount of time. We're here for a good time, not a long time. We come here with a mission. And a lot of times we get stuck out of fear and we try to stay here. We think this is our first time here, and we don't know what's beyond here, or our body, or our conceptualization of this life. It could be at this very age. If I'm working this job, living here in Alabama, going to this school with this community, this group of friends, once I develop that rooting system that we develop in the first 10 years of life, we constantly reroute. Some people stay in the same spot forever, their entire life. Some people move around and they uproot and reroute. Some people are like Rolling Stones. But it's in that Rolling Stone energy that will set you free in the crown chakra. Because you must understand that your home is inside you. You must understand that you are inside you, that nothing is outside of you. The root chakra is our basis of understanding, and is correlated, mirrored, as above, so below, with the crown, the first and the seventh. And so I'm even facing some of my childhood traumas, being faced with them again, because they've been used to exploit me, my weaknesses, my childhood traumas. And so now, as I get older, I'm being triggered, and these same traumas and initiations and rituals that were cast on me, spells and hexes that were cast on me as a child, I'm still undoing them to this day. And I've been away from my family for some time, and I'm understanding that nobody knows you like your family. Your family is your closest reflections. And my grandfather used to always tell me, your greatest enemies will be that of your own household. And my mom, my uncle, even some of my siblings, they would be like, he's just saying, he's just talking shit, or he just, he crazy. You see now. It took me a long time to really understand that. No one knows you like your family. Confirmation, I see those two doves skip across the lake, almost imitating each other. When you grow together, it could be plants, it could be fish, birds, people. You go through the same initiations and experiences which shape you in the same environment. You eat the same things, you watch the same things, you share the same things. And so this bonds you on a deeper level. Not to mention the receptors of your DNA literally giving off information and genetics, producing certain thoughts, feelings, and patterns within your life. And so we are very close to our family. This is our closest reflections of us. They're literally aspects of us. And we talk about the bloodlines, like in the Illuminati. I come from the Williams family and the White family. And I didn't know that they were involved in Freemasonry, that they were a part of a secret society. But once my grandpa passed, I went through his things and I saw, before he passed, he showed me a card, but I went and found it again. It was, what is a Mason? And I'm understanding my grandfather was in the military. He was in the military for 20 years. He went to Germany and Korea. He was in the Air Force. And I'm understanding that he served his country. I was proud of him. He did. And back then, he was born in 1930. He went to Korea in 54. And back in that time, as a black man, the accomplishments that he made were grand. And I always felt honored by them. My father, he was incarcerated since I was 3 for 17 and a half years. He got out, crossed state lines, and went back for another 6 months. And is now released. He's been working and doing good. But since then, I've always chose to follow in my grandfather's footsteps. But I have like my father's DNA and influence, spirit. And I've been battling between these two, and I'm coming to understand that they had differences, my father and my grandfather. And my father or grandfather didn't want to be a Mason, but the thing is, I'm realizing that Freemasons, the Illuminati, the Eastern Stars are the female branch of the Freemasons or the Illuminati. There's so many cults underneath the Illuminati. But they run everything, and they're a part of the military, government places, even government jobs. And so they control everything through a structured militant order in a syndicate. And this is throughout America, through every town and city. And so underneath this is the government, the CIA, the Secret Service, the FBI, the police, confidential informants, all the way down to gang members. Because even in the gangs, look at Tuki, who started the Crips. You got Larry Hoover. You got all, even the Black Panthers. You could look at Black Wall Street You could look at so many organizations, and this is all through history. The only thing they do is they dismantle. First, they send the spies. They dismantle them. They take off the head, and so what you have then is a franchise. The red and the blue is a franchise now. Growth and development is a franchise now. The military is a franchise. The underworld and the world that you see work together in tandem. As above, so below. There's just a secret order to everything. In the Bible it says, all things, the good and the bad, work for those that love the Lord. And I'm understanding God uses everything, good and bad. And so does the government, so do the people, and so do secret societies. It's a principle in the universe, duality. You can't have darkness without light. They define each other. You can't have negative without positive. You don't have a flow of energy. You don't have an alternated current or circuit. And so this is necessary for completion. And coming into enlightenment is not only making awareness of the darkness, but also integrating it. And the darkness is your past as well. I'm coming to understand I have karma from my paternal line, my maternal line. I have karma from my past, from all the way I was born, from the moment I was born until now, 33 years of age. I have karma from my past lives. I have a son. I have karma from him until he reaches a certain age. And so we talk about freedom. What is freedom? It's an illusion. And it's a phenomenon like love, and it's a state of mind. So the worm is free when it comes up. The worm is free as long as it's below the earth. The moment it comes up, it may be the early bird's breakfast. That bird may be free until it sits on the branch too long and doesn't know it's a snake right near. You may be free until you disobey the law. You may have thought you were free until you disobeyed the law. You may be only free to do what you can afford. Freedom is a state of mind, a state of being, but it's really an illusion. A lot of people are controlled and aren't even aware that they're being controlled. We're being controlled by what we eat, because it influences how we think and how we feel, which life is all about. Only thing we have in life is time and decisions. If you think you have something else, it's an illusion. Even this body doesn't belong to us because it must return, breath must return to the atmosphere every few seconds. Your urine back to the rivers, your blood, and your flesh back to the earth, your soul back to God. And so we're on borrowed time. The only thing we got is choices. But we try to do this, hold on to things forever, as long as we can. And then we even know we're leaving, and then we try to say like, wait, I was here. You see that? I did that. I was here. I exist. I'm a person. That's me. I did a good thing. Next lifetime, you'll be somebody different. You may be a different race, gender, or a different part of the world. You could even be a different creature, a different being. You could have a different alliance and allegiance second time you come into the world, the next time you come into the world. And so a lot of things that we think we're doing are futile, and they only serve the ego and vanity. Things that are temperamental, that are a fallacy. It rises and it falls like the phallus. The vagina is eternal. Eternal life. So a lot of these rituals that they've been doing rituals on me since I was a child. And I've recently tried to dissociate and start my own life. So I traveled down south looking for a wife. looking for understanding and truth, knowledge, even looking for some things that feel familiar to me from a past life. And I love the South. I love America. Regardless of all the racism, bullshit, crime, statistics, criminology, crooked police, um, corruption within the system, the secret societies, the conspiracies, racism, bigotry. I mean, somebody could kill somebody over a baseball game. You like the Texans, I like the Cardinals. You like the Cubs, I like the Cardinals. We find reasons to separate each other. Even when we were all one race, one gender, we found reasons. You look just a little different. And so this is just human nature. There's no such thing as a perfect utopia. There's conspiracy everywhere on the planet, even where the people are in tribes, hunting and fishing, ass naked. Because they're human. Humans experience negativity. Which is another thing I'm learning about integrating my darkness. And I'm going on a tangent. I always go on a tangent when I do these and I don't know where I end up. But if you watch them, maybe you'll piece something together. I'm learning about the moon. Girl I'm dating now, she's a Capricorn with the Cancer rising and a Scorpio moon. So I'm learning a lot about life, death, rebirth, transformation, but as well as the moon and emotions. So emotions, like, what I'm realizing is, so everybody has these emotions. For a long time, I went a long time without feeling certain emotions, even like suppressing emotion or feeling numb, being a catastrophic, like a catatonic state or a melancholy state, a traumatic state, to where I'm just not feeling anything. I'm just there. I'm just present. Kind of almost even in a third body experience. But what I'm understanding is, I looked at the emotional wheel one time. I sat down and talked with a Cancer. My mom is a Cancer, and Cancer is the moon, which rules emotions and water, spirit, clairvoyance, spirit realm, and all this. And I started to understand that some emotions that, like, especially as men, we're not really in touch with our emotions. We're not even told to be in touch. We're more so like logically do what has to be done and robotic. Losing that piece of the X and X, giving us the X and Y. And this mutation, we think that it's simply just breast and vagina, when it's a lot deeper than that. The woman is whole and the man is fragmented. And this is why it says it's not good for man to be alone, not woman. It also says, well, there is a saying. I think that's in The Godfather, that women and children can be reckless, but men cannot. And when I was a boy, I did childish things, and when I became a man, I put childish things aside. I'm understanding emotion. And you should take a look at the color wheel. Like, if you just Google it, there's a complete spectrum of emotions stemming from, I think it's 6 core emotions, fanning out to maybe, I think 30 different emotions or more. But this is just the spectrum of emotion. And this is what demons are. It took me a while. They're demons. At your root chakra, if the CIA actors, confidential informants, gang stalkers, or members of secret society, if they come together and perform hexes, spells, witchcraft, or MK Ultra on you, they try to put you in certain states mentally and emotionally. So if someone wants to induce you into a state of fear, and you were I was able to summon the energy of fear within your first chakra, your root chakra. I would summon a demon within you. That would be fear. Now, if you were in a state of fear, you would not be yourself. You might be paranoid. You may be cautious. You may be on the attack. You may be defensive. You may be anxious. You may experience anxiety. You may not be able to sleep. You may be overworked. You could, in a state of fear, you could go into flight or fight. You can be easily triggered. And so that's a demon in the first chakra. This blockage, fear. It's a demon. The spirit, your spirit having a blockage is simply, if you were to, they taught us to play the recorder in elementary school. If you were to take the recorder or a guitar, you take a guitar, put your finger on the fret. You can take a recorder and put your finger and block an air hole. Now what happens is, look at the flute as your hara line down your 7 chakras. If you were to plug one of these, block one of these chakras, and you were to blow through it, or energy were to pass through your body, you would be at a different frequency versus you blowing into the flute without you putting any fingers covering any holes. It would flow freely. It would produce a certain vibration. This is you at your wholeness. The moment I put a finger on it, it changes the frequency. So if I put you in a state of fear, not only does this knock off your entire aura and your vibration and lower your frequency, knocking you out of balance. Also, like when you unbalance a chakra, this also unbalances the chakras neighboring it. So the root chakra will also, the earth star will be out of balance, as well as the sacral chakra. And this could be given in low activity, low energy, or hyperactivity. And so this will be a demon. You have a fear demon. You have a demon in the chakra above, the sacral chakra, of lust. If you can't control that demon, what that demon comes into is like whoremongering, lusting, cheating, adultery. You looking at someone, and the first thing you think of when you see another human being is sex. Or you may be drawn to sexual organs or parts of the body which you find sexual, or even a part of the body and you think sexual. This can even lead to things, you not being able to control yourself or resist certain temptations, dealing with your lust, and so on and so forth. Out of these 7 come the demons or demons. And so a lot of times this is what they do with MK Ultra. And so I'm learning to embody this, because this is your darkness. So you may not be aware. Your parents are aware. Your parents, your parents, they're aware of everything. If they know their child, they're aware. Oh, they're just hungry right now. Wait, give them 5. Watch a parent watch their child. They're actually a good parent. Nah, you might meet this child and think, what's wrong with them? They won't stop crying. Oh, they're sleepy right now. What do you mean they're sleepy? Oh, you see their face, they're leaning over. I know they're running around. It looks like they got a lot of energy, but they're really tired. What? I just saw them running around. They look like they're full of energy. You look up 2 minutes later, they're on the couch. How'd you know that? I know my child. Better than the child knows itself. Know thyself. There's a lot of people that can know you better than you know yourself. Like your parents, your family, even your significant other, your friends. It could be a stranger that is very intelligent who studies psychology. Or maybe someone that is very spiritual, that's in tune with your emotions. They have emotional intelligence and they can read your emotions. and predict your thoughts or understand your thoughts and actions, what makes you tick. And so knowing yourself is truly important, because when you know yourself, can't nobody tell you who you are, what you like, what you do, and what you done. But as soon as we get here, we try to figure out who we are, what we are, how we came to be, what we're supposed to do, when we're supposed to do it, why we're supposed to do it. So many questions: why, who, how, what, where, when. And the world gives us these answers, but at some point of intelligence, we find the truth. Now, when Jesus came here, they already knew he was going to be here. This wasn't his first time here. This is the first time he was recorded as Jesus. Now, the Rastafarians say he's Haile Selassie. He was the second coming. I don't know. But as above, so below. Jesus is not just the Son of God. Jesus is us. Jesus is our brother. Jesus is one of Jesus is us. There is no separation. He came down here, he went back, and he comes back, and he leaves, and he comes back. In many forms. Not just as a man. As animals. As plants. As water. As everything that is energy that is in existence. Jesus comes back with, like, when we say, I invite you today, harden not your heart. I accept you as my Lord and Savior. What you're doing is, this is religion. You're religion. A legion is an army. When we talk about Jesus Christ and the Holy Ghost, and we talk about the ghost spells of Jesus Christ, gospel is the ghost spells, the spells of the spirits, the spells of spirits that are no longer incarnated in this lifetime. And so it's a religion. Those same people, we have read the spells, and in our mind we are manifesting it within our life, recreating the characters. And when we do this ritual, we are inviting the Spirit of Christ to live within us. And so this is all magic. This is how they knew Christ was coming. The wise men, they talk about the Council of Nicaea, these conspiracies about how they crucified Jesus, and they lied and covered up and they did because they wanted power. And the illusion of power is when no one knows their power and someone has the illusion of power. And so it's a spell. This is why they humbled Christ during the crucifixion. They twisted his words and made a religion. And so the same church that killed Jesus is the same church that we go to and give money now. And now the story's all twisted up, and no one understands it as he really meant it, except for those who truly read the Bible and meditate and come in contact with the Holy Spirit and understand it on a deeper level, and are able to see the astrology, the metaphors, the math, the codes, and the secrets that are in the Bible. Three wise men They knew Jesus was coming. Now, they don't really talk about them a lot in the Bible. Why were they considered wise? They were considered wise because they knew the sciences. They knew astrology, astronomy. They knew the directions. They knew all the sciences that are in these secret cults, which we created years ago, which they gatekeep, which we come through enlightenment, and we find on our own, because we can access the Akashic records once we ascend. And now we're in the age of information. Jesus was in the age of Pisces. We're in the age of Aquarius now. And so they already knew Jesus was going to be here. And so the same thing that happens when Jesus came is the same thing that happens when we all come. They read our astrology and say, okay, and they make plans for us. How to pimp a butterfly. I used to think when I was younger, kids were going through these different things, like being essayed, molested, having all these different issues, like as a child. You know, we come like elementary, first grade, second grade, third grade, all through school. Like we sit around, talk about childhood traumas, even experience childhood traumas, just being in the hood. Thing about that is, what I never understood was a lot of that shit is actually done purposely by the family, not just a member. A family is a cult. A community is a cult. A country is a cult. Have you ever heard someone say, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas? What goes on inside of this house, nobody speaks about outside of this house. What we see here, you never talk about it. Everybody says that in societies of secrecy, a cult. And so there's a culture amongst a cult. There's a leader amongst a cult. And so a lot of times when we first get here, they read our astrology and they make plans for us. The government does, our parents does, and these societies do. And my name is Ian Anthony, named after Mark Anthony. I was groomed to be a Mark and made to be a sacrifice. And I'm understanding that, like Tupac talks about how he was already marked for death. And so this is why he chose his life, was to give a message before he left and to live his life to the fullest. Tupac's mother was with the CIA. She was addicted to cocaine. Cocaine is how they control the mothers. They do this all strategically. Once they bring the coke in and they make crack babies, and they get the mothers addicted to crack, or they even get the fathers addicted to crack, or these different drugs and stuff, they go to the lab, create new substances, or they take old substances, and it all comes from plants, and they engineer and they make these different drugs, and they could induce you into a drug state, or they could put a drug within. They can put a drug in you, breathe it in you, put it in your food, or even trick you into ingesting it. And they also perform spells and rituals. Now, when you first get here, they do these things to mark you. And this becomes a part of your subconscious and a part of your root. Your root chakra is stored with initiations, because this is how you conceptualize life. Well, this is just what it is. You know, I just started off doing it. When did you start doing it? Well, this happened one day and then it happened. Well, it all started back then. That's the root. And so a lot of times parents have plans for the children. And the thing about pimping is a woman can only teach what she knows. If the father is removed, giving guidance, leadership, and protection, then you're left with your teacher, your provider, and your nurturer being one person who is dependent off of the government. And so we get controlled long before we even come into consciousness. We're already programmed, initiated, primed, set on the path that they have for us, whether it's the pipeline here or the pipeline there. The issue is when you're neurodivergent and you deviate from the paths that they've mathematically and systematically set up for you using criminology, environment factors, food factors, and limiting your choices and give you the illusion of free will. And so when you want to break the cycle, it's so hard because it starts at the root. You're already in the cycle. We're born in the sin. You're already doing it. And so first you have to realize what you're doing, understand that it's wrong or that you want to change. Then you have to actively become the change first and then perpetuate the change. And it's so hard when everything else is going the opposite direction. It's so hard. And when you're trying to break a curse or a cycle, you got to understand, if you're the generational curse breaker, you also have those members of your family, your friend group, society that are against you. No, I don't want to change anything. I like everything exactly how it is. I'm eating good. I'm doing good right now. I don't want to change a thing. So what if those people are suffering? So what if those people are getting taken advantage of? If they're being exploited, so what? If they're not being exploited, if they're not being taken advantage of, that's going to affect me. That's going to take from my pockets. Then I'll have less to eat. I'll have less to use. And this is how people think. And so they want to keep you in this cycle. This is how the system is designed. And so they will actually attack you for trying to be different. And they're just programmed that way. And you will take it personally. My grandfather was different. He believed in Jesus Christ. He started a church. He got out of the army. He told me never to join the military, and I was tempted to join. But once I realized that if I joined, I'd basically be joining the Freemasons, I decided not to. And so I'm understanding that I'm not supposed to. A lot of times we think tradition, you have to follow in somebody's footsteps. No, we're here to make a life of our own. I mean, but it's good if you want to follow tradition. It's good. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just you want to live your own life. You want to get here. A lot of us get here and we discover that, wait, I've lived my entire life for someone else, for something else that doesn't matter. I've lived a lie. I didn't really know. I didn't know. And before you come into enlightenment, I'm 33 now. Before we come into enlightenment to where we understand who we are, what we are, why we here, and that we've been here before, even connected with certain clairvoyant gifts in past life, it's like a lot of people don't make it to that point. Or if they make it to that point, they're in a state to where they're so shackled. They made so many wrong decisions. They've got so many things pressing against them. They feel as though it's too late, and it's never too late. But it is much harder. A lot of us leave the world or ruin our lives before we come into that point of enlightenment and understanding. And this is where the cult wants you initiated before you reach that point. The devil wants you. He wants your soul before you realize that you're here to serve God and that you are a part of God. The devil wants you a part of his army. And so there's a gift and a curse. Everything is dual. Like when they say if you want peace, prepare for war. I didn't understand that for a long time. There's only two sides. And if you don't stand for one, you'll just be a leaf in the wind. But if you do stand, like Sir Winston Churchill says, you have enemies, good. That means you stood for something in your life. Anything that you stand for, you have to understand the duality is something is on that other side. If you want to be a good guy, well, there's a lot of bad guys that won't like you. If you want to be a bad guy, well, there's a lot of good guys that won't like you. But there has to make a choice. You have to make a choice. You can't play both sides. That's how you get caught up. In the Bible it says, this day choose who you will serve. If you are lukewarm, I will spew you out. This has to do with manifestation in life. You can't hold two frequencies at one time. I'm a Gemini. You can be bipolar. You cannot hold two frequencies at the same time. You can shift. Like, I'm feeling this way now. Now here comes noon. I have an 8. And now I'm thinking about the past. Now I feel this way. Or maybe somebody said something. Now I feel this way. Because I think this way now. So now I'm changing how I feel about it. Or I feel different about it. Now I'm changing how I think about it. Either or. In the 8. What I've been learning is to like let all of this go and to trust God. And even like my intuition could tell me like if I cross that river right there, like, you know, I might get caught, or if I flip over this, I might fall. Something like that. Like my intuition, I know. Like I'll know there's pain ahead, there's a problem ahead, there's something that I don't like ahead. Now my intuition will tell me that naturally, or maybe I'm intelligent enough to deduce that. I still have to understand that if God tells me to do it, that I have to do it. Not saying I have to because we have free will, but because I chose to serve God, I know that I have to do it. Because if I don't do it, like the only person you don't want to disobey is God. Because the one person that has your best interest in mind, the only person, is God. And so like I went through that Garden of Gethsemane, like when Jesus was in the garden, he asked God, like, is this the only way? You're going to be betrayed. You're going to be set up. God, I don't want to go through this. It's going to be painful. This is going to happen. And God is telling him, this is the way. And Jesus Christ says, let not my will, but your will be done. And Jesus understands that God knows everything. He sees everything. His thoughts are higher than our thoughts. His ways are higher than ours. And so that's what faith is. And no matter how much tarot I pull, how many visions I have, I can't know everything. I can't. I cannot exercise faith and know. Because in order to have faith, it has to be the absence of the knowing. It's just the trusting. And I'm also learning that I'm not to even trust myself sometimes. on what I know. Like, lean not on your own understanding. I might go back and forth 8 times. I might discover new information or have an epiphany, a download. But once I understand that God is speaking to me and He wants me to do something, I have to do it. Once you go on that faith, it's a muscle that you develop, that you strengthen your connection with God, to where it says, my sheep will know my voice. You'll know when God is communicating with you, because He doesn't always use words. He may use a bird. He may use this leaf to fall. He may use a poof in the water. Poof. It's something subconsciously, intuitively, that speaks to your spirit. It's the Holy Spirit. It speaks to only you. This message is only for you. A lot of people won't get it, and they're not supposed to. God makes sure you understand. And as long as you got the memo, you were supposed to act. Just like when Noah built the boat, the memo was for him. And so that's what I'm learning, to have faith, and also to sacrifice my ego. That's my attachment, my ego. I got Leo rising. But I also have alter egos. And the ego is something that's temporary. And your soul is eternal. Before I say my ego, like, your ego is so, like, shallow. We are not what we think we are. We don't even exist as we think we do. We are a part of a whole. We are not, I'm not separate from this tree, from this ladybug. But in the third dimension, I am in the illusion of separation. I am in the illusion of distance. And so that's what I'm really learning. When you see the crucifixion of Christ, that is, He represents the Son. The Son represents consciousness, also the ego. And so this is the crucifixion of His ego, to be reborn as a soul and a spirit, to go back to what He is, eternal life. True. When we talk about demons and demons, that's not really who you are. Like, when you see, like, the Snickers commercial, like, oh, he's just hungry, he hasn't had a Snickers. That's how you act when you're hungry. That's how you act when you're horny. That's how you act when you're afraid. That's how you act when you're heartbroken. That's how you act when you don't know yourself. That's how you act when you're underneath a spell or an illusion. That's how you act when you're attached to someone. See, these are demons that come out of our spirit. But the thing is, these are states. It's not who we are. So anyone can become angry. Anyone could become jealous. Anyone can experience envy. The thing is, we came here to this world to have a full experience. As a human being, we have emotions. We are meant to experience the full spectrum of emotion. Happiness, sadness, fulfillment, vacancy, dissolution, poverty, wealth, ignorance, knowledge. This is the duality of the spectrum, of the full spectrum. And so a lot of manipulation, they try to put us in these states, but you have to understand, integration is understanding yourself. You become your own parent when you're an adult. You look at yourself. Wow, why am I angry? You don't just feel the emotion and react. I'm angry, I gotta hit something, I gotta do something, I have to be more aggressive, I have to run. No, you address it. That's what shadow work is. When you look at your shadow and you look at your demons and your emotions, and you're like, wow, I can't believe I was angry over that. Or you take the time to understand, why am I angry? I guess that's why I'm angry. Well, that shouldn't make me angry. Or now that I understand it, I'm not as angry. This emotion is passing. Emotions are tools for us to understand the environment around us. They're not who we are. We're not our thoughts and we're not our emotions. These are simply states, phenomena. And so you even see things like cyberbullying, where you see someone self-destruct because some people are able to cast spells, illusions, and manipulate people's mind emotions to the point to where they feel so many emotions and demons that they implode. They can't take it anymore. And so integration is key. You have a darkness. The same way you see a character on a video game, you have to unlock it first. How do you unlock that darkness? Well, you've never been homeless before. Well, you never got in a fight before. Well, you never had your heart broken before. Well, you never had your back against the wall. You had kids to take care of. You didn't have the money to pay it, and everybody was looking to you. And you were feeling prideful. You've never been in these different situations to where it's a test for you to make a decision and for you to learn from your decisions and grow. And you keep getting another chance. Tomorrow you get another 24. Day after that you get another 24. Right now you'll get another 60. Another hour. Opportunity to grow, change, transform, and transcend. Time is even an illusion. As everything's, the water's passing, trees are growing, I'm growing, I'm talking. In the higher dimensions, this has already happened. In the higher dimensions, this is already available on the web. In the higher dimensions, I had already thought about making this video before I came out here and made this video or even knew what I was going to say. God knew what I was going to say. And so, I don't want to get too long on this. You want to, in the 7th chakra, in the crown chakra, this is your crown. My hairline is receding, but I'm understanding now this is male pattern baldness, which you get from your maternal grandfather and your maternal line. And this is my grandfather's line to 88 years. This is what it looked like at 88. You know, he had a brain surgery, so it's like a little patch, a little more thin than there. But even my son is half Mexican. He has like looser curls, thick hair with looser curls. And he has this same, like when he popped out, he had a full head of hair. He has this same pattern on his hairline, and it's genetic. And so this is my crown. I didn't get any inheritance as far as money or property, but what I did inherit was spiritual inheritance. And this is what happens in bloodlines. In bloodlines, the reason they talk about bloodlines and Illuminati so much is because what you perceive as a bloodline, that's just your history. Oh, that's just your genetics. Oh, that's just where you come from. It's a totem. The same way Native Americans, I have a Native American lineage. We used to make totems. We used to make animal totems for the animal spirits. We are multi-dimensional beings. So as we exist as a human, we also exist as an animal. We also exist as a guardian star or a planet. We also exist as a doppelganger. When we sleep, we're only awake about 16 hours out of the day. So when we sleep for about that 8 hours, we're also awake. We leave the consciousness of this body and we inhabit another. And on a larger scale, we're all one. And so in the bloodline, it's really like the Voltron. And I didn't understand that. A bloodline is like the Voltron. Like when you see somebody hop inside a robot, okay, I'm controlling the head, I'm controlling the leg, I'm controlling the right arm, I'm controlling the left arm. That's a family. You got the head of the household. That's a family. And so spiritually, when you have a bloodline, you have a family. And so through this family, we all connect back to source, God, and we're branched through this family tree. So just as you were to prune, just as if you were to prune a tree, like this branch right here, I could take off this entire branch right here. Or I could simply take off this branch. This would be pruning. What would happen is this branch would cease to exist. The tree would heal itself right here on this node, and the rest of the energy that's flowing through the tree, when it gets to this branch, it would stop sending nutrients and energy to this branch, and it would concentrate it, redistribute it back to the other leaves and branches of the tree. And so this is what happens when a family member passes. They go, they're not gone. We believe, like, a lot of people think, okay, they gone. They gone. We even feel them, like, it's something you could feel. You know, they're gone. They're gone. But they're really inside of you, because energy is neither created nor destroyed. It's simply transferred from party to party. And so that energy is redistributed back into the bloodline, including memories, consciousness, spiritual energy, and clairvoyant gifts. So there are people in the household who have certain gifts. And my grandfather was a holder of clairaudience. He had clairvoyant abilities such as clairaudience and clairvoyance. He could have visions, and he could hear within other dimensions, and he would be able to hear God speak with him. He was very close with God. He would pray for hours in the morning and before bed, even in the middle of the day. And so when they leave, they may even come to protect us, to still guide us from the other realm, and even to give us their gifts. The greatest, what do they say? The greatest way to avenge a fallen soldier is to pick up the sword or the weapon in which your comrade fell, and to finish the battle. And so here I am in God's army. I'm understanding my weapon is the Bible. It's not my fist. It's not a gun. It's not a knife. It's not something physical. It's spiritual. It's not something that's on me. It's something that's in me. It's truth. It's light. It's love. It's knowledge. It's wisdom. It's peace. God is love. So this is what happens in the bloodline. One minute.